have Agnes here from Hello Wonderful. Agnes is out in California and she is not able to join us for the live event, but she was kind enough to do a little pre-recording with me talking about some of her best pins that she's designed and how kind of her tips for how she's done that. So Agnes, do you want to walk us through a couple of your top pins that you really love and just tell us a little bit about how you created them and kind of maybe some tips that you could share with other bloggers?
Sure. Thank you, Susan. Thanks for having me, and thank you everyone for joining. What I've done is try to give you 4 types of examples of what I do when I pin images. So for the first one that you see here, 25 best fun and easy 2-ingredient crafts, this is a stock image that I use. And so when I look for stock images, I try to look for ones that don't look too much like stock photography. So in this case, I wanted to create this fun and colorful pin that also related to the topic, which are, 2-ingredient crafts. So this one has done really well in general. And you can see that it's basically a block image. So in this case, you're not seeing some stock photo children that may not look like most typical kids, but it's basically the focus is on the lettering and just using that background, those background colors to really make the pin pop. So for tutorials where it's an original tutorial and it's not a roundup and it's an original how to, I like to have definitely vertical images, as everyone knows is popular on Pinterest, but just very detailed, very close in shot. So this is one that I just only pinned an hour ago.
Wow. Hot off the press.
Yeah, hot off the press. It's a craft that I did with my daughter, but this is very typical of the style of images, like a white background or even a plain colored background, but just really having the product or the craft that you want to showcase really stand out and have it be very close and cropped in. I feel that in this case, then I don't need to have busy lettering. And I know that's a style that's really popular with a lot of pins, and that's really great. Just for my style, I feel that the image speaks for itself a lot of the times because I do a lot of colorful, fun, and creative crafts. So I feel like in that case, I want to showcase the project versus have it be cluttered with lettering and words. So that's just a style that I prefer, and I like to just crop really close and do a really nice vertical image. So when you're taking your photography for your post, to just really always think of that Pinterest image and how it's going to look like.
I love that.
So this is an example of a roundup. And so for roundups, what I like to do is, well, definitely the roundup items, I tend to look for very clear, pretty photos that have good tutorials and clear directions. So that really helps when you're collaging the photos. So that's something to look for when you're putting together a list post. But then what I like to do is have very big block letters and a big colorful banner underneath the letters to just really make the title pop. And I tend to go for very bright colors because I'm a kid's site, so that appeals to the type of content that I'm producing. But as you can tell here, the block is very bright and the letters are usually capitalized, and I tend to use block letters versus cursive or italics to really make the title stand out.
Yeah, cursive.
So one thing that I've noticed sometimes does really well on Pinterest are a sort of 2 or 3 step type of collage where you're showing not just the final product, but a snippet of the behind the scenes. So this is one, I know it only shows a repin of 5 because that's off one of my board, but this one has been pinned over 21,000 times.
Oh, I believe it.
Yeah, it's not I didn't grab that pin, but this one has done really well, for example, and I believe it's done really well because it shows this step process in a very clean way, and it has that text overlay that tells you clearly what it is. And I know some people are wary about adding too many steps because they want people to click over, but I sometimes feel that if depending on the product or the recipe you want to showcase or the craft, it makes people want to click even more when they see that it's so visually easy to make and easy to follow. So
that's actually something that we talk a lot about at Ahalogy, is that Pinterest, the best pins they are both inspirational and achievable. So when people see a pin that they go, I could do that, it's so much more compelling than a pin that looks like, whoa, that's so complicated, I could never pull that off. So this kind of image where you just have this very simple visual presentation is very compelling. It definitely makes somebody want to click, I would think.
Totally. And it really depends on what the how to or the recipe. Like, so for example, I didn't do it for the rock doll craft because it just wasn't as compelling to show those steps. For this, I felt it was very compelling to show that it's a super easy snack for kids, and you can just clearly see how it's made, but it's led to a lot of click-throughs too. So even though
Yeah.
you can look at it and see what it's about. It does, this type of pin does lead to a lot of click-throughs.
Well, I don't know. It can't just be yogurt and strawberry. There has to be an additional ingredient. I got to click to find out, what is the other thing or things that I need.
Sure, yes.